Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rochester Press Box. Tariq, Spence filling in for Bill Pucko, joined by, of course, one Mr. Patrick Duffy. And if I had known you were bringing your Red Wings jersey, I would have brought mine.
Yeah, but yours isn't as cool as mine. The vintage throwback right over at Frontier Field Red Wings.
I don't know. I've got the sleeveless one, my friend.
Okay, look, I love how you say your Red Wings jersey. Like I don't have 19 Red Wings jerseys.
I thought you only collected hockey jerseys.
No,
I didn't know you collected baseball jerseys like the Red Wings.
I see you every week. I have all kinds of jerseys, Tariq. Pay more attention, please.
I don't know. I just know full well. Joe Bradt joins us now here on the show. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Look at it, classic baseball. I'm the only one without the baseball. Am I just like a ref today or an umpire or something?
Yeah, you look like one of those cricket officials, right?
Yeah.
They wear white polo shirts. Yeah.
That's a sport I really need to get into. Let's first get into the NBA. 4 teams in the, as we're taping this, we don't know who's in the NBA Finals as of yet, but of Golden State, Dallas, the Boston Celtics, and the Heat, of those 4 teams, who do you think actually has a future in the NBA past this year?
How is it not Boston above the other 3? All right, look, I mean, if we're going to break it down team by team, Golden State, they've had their injury concerns, right? That's just going to keep happening moving forward. Dallas is one man. No. Miami, it's a weird mix because they are a full team, right? But they're not a team that's as good as Boston, and somehow they seem older than Boston, even though it's about the same. The caveat with Boston is Al Horford, right? Like, he's coming to the end of his career. If that leadership sticks with that team, with Jason Tatum developing into what he is, Marcus Smart still has a couple of years ready to go, I don't see how it's anybody but Boston in the entire NBA right now.
Well, I'm a little confused about Jaylen Brown. I'm not quite sure where to put him at a 2, maybe a 3. He shows up as a 2. Sometimes in certain games he takes over as a 1, but not in the playoffs. I'm a little confused on that. I would say Miami because they need one more offensive scorer. That seems to be their problem right now. The problem with that is I don't know what position they're going to play.
Well, I mean, if we look at the history of Jimmy Butler, you put too many offensive scorers or offensive ball touchers on a roster of Jimmy Butler. And I love Jimmy Butler. I love watching Jimmy Butler. I love his no-nonsense. But he does get a little weird about who controls the offense, who touches the ball, and he acts out in different ways, right? At least we've seen it the last couple of years. It's very strange.
I find this about Jimmy Butler. It's very weird now. He's dealing with this knee injury and all the other different things that go along with that. Yet he would love a scorer right now to take some pressure off of that. That's exactly what he doesn't have. Tyler Hero is out with this groin injury. Kyle Lowry just came back. Meanwhile, Golden State seems to find a way to reinvent himself every 4 or 5 years. Look, they took those little down years. They took the Steph Curry year where he just went balls out and everybody basically was injured and couldn't play. Now they're back a little older, but they seem to have not lost a step from a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like Joe, right? Like, he shows up and he does his job like he's supposed to do his job, and you don't expect him to do well because, I mean, you've seen Joe do his thing before. But yeah, they find a way to come through. I don't know. Like, it has to get to a point, Joe, where like the run comes to an end because of injuries, right?
Well, I think they have a lot of weaknesses this year. It's not the same like Golden State team we've seen before. I mean, they have no big man. They have the bench, I think, is weak. And Klay Thompson is a shadow of his old self.
Yeah, but you bring up big man. Who has a legitimate big man anymore other than Philadelphia? I mean, Grant in Boston, he does things. You're not going to run your offense through them. Can you name me another legitimate center that has an impact other than Embiid in the NBA?
No one does. And speaking of Klay Thompson, I have to give a lot of credit to Andrew Wiggins, who stepped up. I don't know where he came from, but he's gone from a solid sort of 3-4 to a number 2, playing very good defense against Luka Doncic.
Yeah, but you also, if you're talking about Wiggins in particular, I think that's the case study in the NBA of what you have around you to develop, right? Because doesn't play a game for Cleveland with that trade in Kevin Love. He ends up in Minnesota. Again, what are you doing while you're there? He was still kind of impressive in Minnesota. When you have that legitimate team around you with folks that have done this before, yeah, you're going to see a true potential of a bat. No? Do you disagree?
No. I didn't think it was in him. I actually am seeing something in Andrew Wiggins I didn't really believe was there. I'd also believed the clippings of the fact that he's great in practice. He's a great teammate, but it never really showed up. It took the Warriors' chemistry to bring it out. Then you throw in a young Poole. It'll be interesting. I'm not sure where this is going to end up, but that's why we love watching sports, because any prediction that you may have, it can go opposite the other way. We talk first with the Buffalo Bills at OTAs coming up next. You're watching the Rochester Press Box. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. I'm Tariq, Spence filling in for Bill Pucko. This segment, the Bill segment, being brought to you by Ralph Honda for 3 generations and celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and find out how we do Honda right. RalphHonda.com. All right, OTAs for the Buffalo Bills, Duffy, looks good. There's a noticeable absence in Jordan Poyer. Are you worried about this?
I mean, I'm not worried about it. We get to training camp, he's not there, all worried about it. And here's the thing, man, I understand where he's coming from, right? Like, he's worth more than, what is he supposed to make, $5.1 million this year? He's worth more. But you also have to pay everybody else. All of your other key pieces have gotten their contracts. I mean, look, we're going to see more of this next year and the season after. He's 31, if I'm not mistaken, right? For a safety that's long in the tooth. You saw what the Rams were able to do with Eric Weddle towards the end of the playoffs, where they just plugged and played, right? The system that Leslie Frazier runs, you can put defensive backs in there. You saw when Tre'Davious White went down and things didn't go terribly for you. I want him to get his money, but I don't know if it's possible for him to get his money the way that the roster's constructed right now.
Well, the guy who got a lot of his money is Von Miller, who looks amazing at OTAs. Do you take a lot out of that, or you wait to sort of training camp in the beginning of the year? It's OTAs, it's voluntary. He wants to be there. He's got a lot of stuff going on off the field. But, I mean, do you take anything from an early start from a veteran like that?
Oh, I mean, one, he better look good in shorts at OTA. Everybody better look good in shorts, especially with this roster. Yeah, and look, if he didn't show up to voluntary minicamp after all the hubbub and excitement and all the things he said, yeah, I would have had a problem with it. Should I be excited that Von Miller decided to show up at voluntary OTAs like that? Of course he's going to be in voluntary OTAs, right? I mean...
Well, I'm sure he's going to be there. He's going to be at camp. He's going to be everywhere he needs to be for the start of this first year of his contract, because that's a lot of money they're dealing out for him.
Yeah, I mean, look, I guess to your point, if he wanted to, he could have stayed away, because you're right, he deserves the money that he got. He's got the years under his belt, right? I mean, if he wanted to, he could have said no. But I mean, you look, Des Bryant attempted this, right? He left Dallas. He was waiting for the right spot. He passes on Baltimore, waits a couple of weeks to get in, and then blows his knee out in his second practice with the Saints when he signed him, and he was never the same thing since. So I feel like football isn't like hockey. Football isn't like baseball. Football isn't like basketball, where you can show up, get in shape, and go. If you ain't getting ready and you're just coming off the couch, because even Weddle, I mean, what was that injury he was playing with in the Super Bowl that was like horrific?
Yeah.
Did he have like a hole in his stomach or something? Like it was some horrific, awful injury, or like his shoulder was coming out? I can't remember.
Did he get a ring out of it?
He did. Well, he hasn't sat up since the Super Bowl, but you know.
But he got a ring out of it.
He did.
That's the most important thing. Any worry about sort of feistiness? I know Stefon Diggs got into it with a couple of different teammates. Feistiness at OTAs, or do you want to see that at camp alone?
Well, I know Dane Jackson gets in, push and shoving match with Stefon Diggs. Dane Jackson has to get in a pushing and shoving match with Stefon Diggs right now, because they drafted the guy who is going to play over you if he figures out what he's doing here. I mean, look, I understand what Dane Jackson is doing. You make a name for yourself. You make noise for yourself, and you try and throw this number one receiver off his game to do everything you can to get all the snaps in you can when their first-round pick is the guy that's supposed to be playing over you.
You talk about pressure. You got guys behind you on a team that could potentially go very far into the NFL playoffs and possibly to the ultimate game in February. You're going to be snapping at the number one guy any chance you get to prove to be on that team.
Look, it's all fun and games, and I mean, Joe, I know you're with me on this. Like, yeah, shove them all you want. If you hurt Stefon Diggs, just be like gently shove and gently push and don't even hurt his feelings.
Should wide receivers have red shirts too?
Why go after your star player? Get in a fight with who's the backup tight end?
Well, no. Let's say you get into a fight with Tommy Sweeney. Nobody writes about that. Who cares about Tommy Sweeney? I don't know if he wouldn't have done it had he not known what Bean, McDermott, and Frazier are looking for. I'm convinced that he went after the top dog, make a name for himself. Just don't hurt his feelings too bad and gently touch him.
I just want to lightly say, putting red jerseys on wide receivers didn't sound like a bad idea. I'm just telling you, if you want to protect your quarterback, you might have to protect your wide receiver too. Okay. Like it or not, coming up next, you're watching the Rochester Press Box.
Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Favorite place in the world that I've traveled to? How about Greece? Hello again, Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. Check out my podcast. I'll take you there at thegetawayguy.com.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. Tariq Spence filling in for Bill Pucko. This segment of the Press Box, like it or not, is being brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared with less. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. All right, Joe, you get the first one to fire off here. Tim Anderson and Josh Donaldson, a huge issue. He was suspended for the game. Donaldson is appealing it. Your thoughts on the whole situation of what Tim Anderson had to say?
Yeah, so Tim Anderson a few years ago compared himself to Jackie Robinson, and Josh Donaldson called him Jackie. He did it in 2019, and Tim Anderson said, "Don't ever talk to me again." Which, that's a pretty definitive answer. So when Josh called him Jackie this time, there were kind of undertones of maybe racism or something definitely more than just joking around.
Yeah.
So he gets suspended a game. What's interesting is Joe Kelly a couple years ago made a sad face. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He made a sad face, right? He got suspended for 8 games.
Oh, my God.
8 games.
Yeah.
Sad face.
It is nuts, man.
Duffy.
And look, as a man who has a very sad face, no, like, it is insane, right? Like, this has become a story all week long, whether or not you want to buy into the racial aspect of it. I mean,
the tone of the rooster throughout.
Yeah. I mean, look, Donaldson is not, he seems like a jerk.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, the guy, all he does, he rubs opponents the wrong way, stories of him rubbing teammates the wrong way, right? Like, he's one of these guys, I mean, Joe, you would know better than I do. Like, I'm trying to compare him to another player throughout history who wasn't great. Like, was he good enough to justify how much everybody hated him being on rosters throughout his career? Do you know what I'm saying?
Josh Donaldson is like a perennial MVP candidate when he's healthy. So he's a pretty good player. He's not Reggie Jackson, though, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, I give you.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Donaldson's teammates defending him on the field is one thing, and then you go to the press conference afterward. They weren't too glowing of him, which is interesting to me. That the catcher on the White Sox said something to him as soon as he walked to the plate about a comment he made to a teammate that was out in the field. It's bizarre. As you said, is he a jerk? It appears to be that way. And I think that's how this is going to play out. And this is weirdly how the Yankees kind of wanted him, because they wanted that jerk factor in there. Well, you got it now.
And now you got, I mean, Joe, you saw it. You got, your stars in New York distancing yourself. Guys who are going to sign contracts or should be signing contracts or you want to sign contracts now, putting an arm out and being like, oh, yeah, guys over there, I'm over here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Judge is going to be a free agent. He turned down their contract offer. And now, do you really want to sign with the Yankees with everything that's going on? I don't know.
We'll see if the roster sort of changes here. Meanwhile, the NFL has seen some quarterbacks doing some conditioning. Mac Jones looking pretty good, according to the Patriots. And then Justin Herbert. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of him. What do you think of the quarterbacks, like it or not, getting conditioned for the season?
First off, who's not Googling shirtless pics of Justin Herbert when they're sitting at home? I know I am. But second, like, I love this thing, man. Like, it happens every year, right? Quarterbacks working out. Professional athletes getting in shape for the season. Of course they're doing that. And of course Mac Jones got in better shape because he was in terrible shape. Like, he does not look like a professional athlete. And I understand that's me saying that. Fine. Why is it breaking news that young quarterbacks improving conditioning and physique going into long stretches of NFL season? Why is that a thing?
I think for Mac Jones, there was some pre-meal ritual where he had steak and pasta. And I don't know. For Mac Jones, it's a different thing. For Justin Herbert, we're talking 245. I mean, that's a lot of weight to put on a quarterback.
I mean, it is, but then again, you look at a guy, look, everyone wants to be Josh Allen, right? That's what this comes down to. Everyone wants to be able to run the ball and take the shots that Josh Allen takes. Josh Allen is a freak of nature. I find two things very funny. One, what we're discussing, I want to become Josh Allen, which is impossible. And two, this idea, you're seeing it from the Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa and their fans and their team making this argument. Well, he had similar numbers. He's about to take a jump. There is only one Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a generational type of football player, the way that he plays ball. If you try to be Josh Allen, you're going to hurt yourself.
Absolutely.
So just be you, Tua. Just be you, Justin. Mac, keep being you, buddy.
Yeah. Unfinished business on the way next. Pretending like you don't. The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Unfinished Business is brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Greg will meet or beat any competitor's price and can finance you with zero down. Call today or visit gregtheroofer.com. Better roof, better price. Better call Greg today.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. It's time for Unfinished Business. Pat Duffy fires first.
How about NCAA football coaches doing the brave thing, coming out and saying that their kids finally getting paid is bad for them and bad for their programs? Look, man, you know that I hate hypocrisy. You know I hate the man, not a fan of the man. And the man that these college coaches are becoming is absolutely ridiculous. I've talked about Dabo Swinney in the past. He was really one of the first to come out and say, do not do what you're about to do. And then some things come out about Dabo and, oh, it's okay. He wants to take advantage of the portal too. Nick Saban hasn't figured out the portal yet, and he runs his mouth a couple of weeks ago making problems, causing problems with other coaches within his conference. Look, man, you're going to change the rules now where you can retroactively punish kids for things that they did that they didn't know were wrong. And these coaches who relied on reputation and prestige from their colleges, now they actually have to go out and do work. Brian Kelly can't get all the players he wants at Notre Dame just from the name Notre Dame, so he's going to LSU. Nick Saban now has to get on a plane and talk to kids' parents and figure out ways to sell them on his college, not just because it says Alabama anymore. I have no sympathy for you. Why would you not have sympathy for these kids that are playing ball? They're the ones putting their bodies out on the line. They're the ones that are getting an education from these institutions that might be good for them if they're able to finish the program and they're able to hang on to their scholarships, unless you're done with them when somebody else you bring in on this thing that you hate and are complaining about. I'm ranting. I'm rambling. The bottom line is this. College sports is changing. And if you want to sit there and complain about things aren't easy for you as they used to be, you weren't that good a coach to begin with.
This weekend, I'll be in Cooperstown, New York for the 13th annual Cooperstown Classic. What's the Classic, you say? It's a baseball game played at Doubleday Field in Cooperstown with former major leaguers. 8 Hall of Famers will be there. Tim Raines, Wade Boggs, Ozzie Smith. Former players like Carlos Pena, Matt Wieters, Nick Swisher. Former Rochester Red Wing Garrett Jones will be there. But what's really special is seeing baseball played in a ballpark that's located in a neighborhood. Home runs fly into backyards. People watch from their rooftops. Little hamlet of Cooperstown, New York is filled with activity, former players, and it's a reminder that baseball is our national pastime because it brings us back and connects us with the past.
I'm not quite sure what politicians plan on doing, but what I heard Steve Kerr had to say and what I saw the Buffalo Bills do after these mass shootings that took place in Dallas and Buffalo makes me wonder, where are they for certain issues that are going on? You see, the one thing that I could say about sports is that they're not politicians. They're out to play a sport, and provide entertainment, and go out there and do great things within the community. Yet, time and time again, like Steve Kerr had to do for the Golden State Warriors, they go out and address real-life, dangerous issues that need to change immediately. I'm not quite sure exactly who said what about who needs to stop, shut up and dribble, but it seems as if the athletes and players are ahead of the things that need to change more than the politicians that actually have their hands on the policy to do something about it. I'm not quite sure where we change from here, but there's so many different people with issues that go from Ukraine to Buffalo to Dallas that are addressed by athletes and never solved by politicians. And that's the Rochester Press Box for this week. Pat Duffy, as always. Next time we'll coordinate with Red Wings jerseys. How about that?
Can we not match? That's the thing I don't
Why?
like doing.
What is up with you? He doesn't like the match.
What are we, Belle Biv DeVoe?
Why not? It's not that bad, right, Joe? Next time we'll match. Is that okay?
Yeah, just wear your Red Sox jerseys. We'll be fine.
I will never buy a Red Sox
You asked
jersey.
for this. You asked for this.
Yeah,
it's
you're right.
poison.
Yeah.
You get it? Because I said Belle Biv DeVoe a second ago. I don't know if you heard me.
Hence, I put in the little ending at the end.
Okay, great.
Bill Buckle will be back next week to captain this whole ship as we crash it.